What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JB Sports back again with another one. CEO and promoter of Top Rank Boxing, Bob Arum, aka the Bob Father, the Quincy Jones of boxing promoters, did an interview with Fight Hype in the lead up to a lightweight clash featuring Vasily Lomachenko, a pound for pound fighter taking on top lightweight contender Richard Commey. Richard Commey is a lunch pill type of fighter, man, and he comes from Ghana. And Ghana has a rich tradition of great fighters, great champions throughout boxing history come from that great country, Ghana. You had the Professor, Azuma Nelson. You had Ike Quartey come out of there. And you had, if I'm not mistaken, you had John the Beast Mugabe came out of Ghana. So Ghana has a real great track record of great fighters, great champions come out of that country. And Richard Commey will be looking to put his name alongside those three great names. And if he's able to pull off, which would be one of the biggest upsets of 2021, right up there with Kambosos over Teofimo Lopez. We're going to talk about Kambosos in a little minute here, especially what the Ball Father had to say about George Kambosos and what he thought of him as a fighter. But again, Commey's coming from a great tradition, a great country. They'll feature great fighters, great champions. Again, you had the Professor Azuma Nelson, you had Ike Quartey, and you had John the Beast Mugabe. And if he's able to pull off the upset victory Saturday night, it'll be right up there, if not even more impressive than George Kambosos defeating Teofimo Lopez. Now let's talk about the unified lightweight champion, George Kambosos from Australia, home of the Kangaroos. And he hopped all around, moved all around, showed his great movement in the ring. Great footwork. That was really impressive about him in that performance against Teofimo Lopez. He got great footwork, man. Guy, he can get from point A to point B real quick. He kind of reminds me of Manny Pacquiao. He trained with Manny Pacquiao when Manny Pacquiao had a lot of his big fights, you know, in his Hall of Fame career. He trained with him, and he fights similar to him. He jumps in there, he lands his combination, he's able to jump out. He's got great footwork, just like Manny Pacquiao, man. And he was able to beat Teofimo Lopez, man. Dropped him with an overhand right in the first round. Was able to land a good combination, jumping in, jumping out. He was able to establish the jab, not only to the head, but to the body. Did a good job of fighting a better inside fight than Teofimo Lopez. Teofimo Lopez, that's one thing he definitely going to have to work on. He got to work on his inside fighting. If he's going, his career is going to be good, but not great if he don't get his inside game better. With all that being said, Teofimo Lopez came up shorter than a midget on his knees, and he needed to move up to 140 pounds. He made all kind of excuses, made more excuses than a man going to jail. He interrupted George Kambosos' post-fight press conference, which was the biggest moment of his career, talking about he wanted to fight 10 rounds to 2. The man must have been delusional, or maybe he was concussed. But George Kambosos put him on Front Street and said, look, okay, you say you won? Let's run it back. We can fight again. But this time it's going to be in my backyard, my neck of the woods, Australia. And Teofimo Lopez started looking up into the cheap seats, looking away, and basically didn't even answer that question. So he didn't want no smoke, because he knows, just like his daddy know, they need to move up to 140 pounds. Go up to 140 pounds, work on your inside game, you know, work on combinations, quit trying to look for one shot. Because when you're at that highest level, one shot ain't going to get it done. Just ask the Crusher when he went in there with Andre Ward looking for one shot, and he got beat both times. You got to be able to put combinations together. You got to be able to establish the jab. You got to be not only establish the jab to the head, but establish the jab to the body. You got to be able to control distance. You got to be able to mix it up when it's time to mix it up. You got to be able to stand the ground when it's time to stand the ground. You got to be able to fight on the outside. You got to be able to fight on the inside. Guys like Floyd Mayweather can do that. Guys like Andre Ward could do that. That's why those guys were complete fighters. With all that being said, Bob Arum, when the interviewer mentioned George Kambosos, who is the unified lightweight champion. A lot of people say he's the #1 lightweight in the division. I'm not a part of those opinions. I believe that Devin the Dream Haney is the #1 heavyweight in the division off his win over JoJo Diaz. Ooh, yeah! I believe he's the #1 heavyweight. I don't just go by belts. Just like I believe Tyson Fury was the #1 heavyweight when Anthony Joshua was the unified heavyweight champion. And to this day, I believe that Tyson Fury is the #1 heavyweight now that Alexander Usyk is the unified heavyweight champion. I'm consistent, y'all. With all that being said, he basically downplayed George Kambosos' win. He basically said that George Kambosos is not that good. He said that basically that George Kambosos is not that dude. And that the only reason why he won that fight was because Teofimo Lopez had no business inside a boxing arena, fighting in a boxing ring. He should have been at a hospital getting his chest looked at. Said he had air in his chest. That's what the doctor said. And I'm not here to doubt the doctor because I ain't no doctor. I'm not going to even try to play one in this video. I'm just going to go by what he said. But the bottom line is, when you call out Deontay Wilder and you say he's making excuses and he need to shut his ass up, is basically in so many words you just said. Quit making excuses, get back in the gym and improve your skill set, work on your craft, and come back and fight a better fight in the third fight. So the advice that he gave Deontay Wilder is the advice that I'm going to give Teofimo Lopez. Quit making excuses. You probably did have air in your chest. Did the air in the chest stop you from hitting him with that right hand in the 9th or 10th round when you dropped George Kambosos and you had him in bad shape? If you just would have went to the body, you probably would have got the stoppage, but you was steady head hunting. You head hunted from round 1 to round 12, and that was one of many reasons why you came up shorter than a midget on his knees. He also talked about the fights involving Devin the Dream Haney and JoJo Diaz. Ooh, yeah! I'm sorry I left you crying. Yeah, he talked about that fight, and he also talked about the Eastside Cruz Gervonta Tank Davis fight. You had the Mexican Mike Tyson going against Floyd Mayweather Jr. Mike Tyson reincarnated in that matchup, and that was a good fight. And he said that Gervonta Tank Davis is an elite fighter. He said that Devin the Dream Haney is a good fighter, but he's not a great fighter. So he downplayed Devin Haney's status even off the win over JoJo Diaz. I think that was basically a shot at Eddie Hearn. He's still pissed that Eddie Hearn stole that Teofimo Lopez George Kambosos fight from him. He's not happy about that. And him and Eddie Hearn has been going back and forth for a while now. Gervonta Tank Davis, he gonna give him his highest praise because he wants to make that fight. He wanted to make the fight with Teofimo Lopez and Gervonta Tank Davis if Lopez would have beat Kambosos. Now that he lost, he would love to make Lomachenko versus Gervonta Tank Davis. So he's gonna always talk highly of Gervonta Tank Davis. Not to say he don't really believe what he said. He might do believe that Gervonta Tank Davis is elite and Devin the Dream Haney ain't. But I think it's got a little bit to do with the promoters that are promoting Devin Haney and Gervonta Tank Davis. Let me know your thoughts about the Godfather going in on George Kambosos, saying he is not all that in a bag of chips. He's a good fighter, but nothing special, and he just took advantage of a situation. And as soon as he get in the ring with somebody on that elite level, he's going to take a L. It's basically what the Godfather said. He also said that Lomachenko, if he's able to get the victory this Saturday night over Richard Comey, that he would love to make a fight with George Kambosos down under in Australia. He have no problem. Now, you just talk down about the guy, but you want to make the fight with one of your top fighters. That's not the way to do business, Bob Arum. You should take a cue from Eddie Hearn. He talks bad about people and their, and their fighters. Always throwing shade at Al Heyman type of fighters and throwing shade at Leonard Ellerbe and his fighters. You wonder why people come back at him and really ain't enthusiastic about working with him. That's the same thing. You might want to take that same path. You might not want to take that same path that Eddie Hearn is taking, Bob Arum. When you're talking down on George Kambosos, he might not be willing to give your fighter, Vasily Lomachenko, a shot at his titles. Now, Bob Arum also said that he insinuated that the WBO will order George Kambosos to defend his WBO title against Vasily Lomachenko, who's #1 in the WBO. And we know what the WBO stands for. whatever Bob orders. That's what the WBO stands for, not World Boxing Organization. that's just a joke that's been going on in boxing for a while, ever since it seemed like every champion that was in the WBO was fighting with top ranking Bob Arum. With all that being said, we'll see what happens. We will see what transpires. I think it's going to basically boil down to Kambosos and DeBella. George Kambosos and his promoter, Lou DeBella. He signed with DeBella Entertainment. And it's going to basically come down to who really calling the shots. Because I do believe that George Kambosos wants a legacy. He wants a legacy-defining fight. And the legacy-defining fight is Devin Haney for Undisputed. I think he'll want that fight to happen. Lou DeBella, on the other hand, is probably would rather George Kambosos face Vasily Lomachenko or Gervonta Tank Davis. Those are much more high-profile fights. And I think he probably want him to do that. Now, Lou DeBella has been doing business with Bob Arum, in particular in the lightweight division with Richard Comey. He fought Teofimo Lopez. That's a top-ranked fighter. He's been doing a lot of business with top-ranked boxing here recently. So that might give Bob Arum the edge. But just like the WBO could order Vasily Lomachenko, the WBA is looking to get rid of their belts. And guess what? George Kambosos is the super WBA lightweight champion, and Gervonta Tank Davis is the regular WBA lightweight champion. They could order that because they're looking to have one name, one face, one champion, as Deontay Wilder used to always say, per division. So we will see what happens. We will see what transpires. We've got to figure out which organization comes first. Just like in the heavyweight division situation, Kubrat Pulev got first dibs on Anthony Joshua because the IBF mandatory came before the WBO mandatory. And after that, Alexander Usyk got his mandatory shot, and we saw what happened. So I don't know which one is first. The way Bob Arum was making it seem, the WBA going to have first dibs on the mandatory, and then WBA might have to come after that. So if that's the case, you might get Loma first, and then Gervonta second. If it's the other way around, you'll get Gervonta first and Loma second. But unlike Vasily Lomachenko, Gervonta Tank Davis ain't going to Australia unless he get the bag. You probably gonna have to double him. What he made like $5 million in his last fight. You probably gonna have to give Gervonta $10 million to go over there and fight. You got to give him $10 million right off the rip. Go over there and fight. That's the only thing that's gonna get Leonard and Mayweather's attention. Even then, they might not chance it. They might think he can go over there and get robbed. So we'll see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about the Ball Father going in. I'm going in. Yeah, going in on George Kambosos, saying that contrary to popular belief, he took advantage of a vulnerable fighter on November 27th, and he's really not all that in a bag of chips. It's basically what the Ball Father said. Let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with the Ball Father? Do you believe that George Kambosos is that dude? And let me know your thoughts about who George Kambosos should fight next, because George Kambosos' decision is going to have a ripple effect, not only on the 135-pound division, but the 130-pound division. Say George Kambosos does pick Vasily Lomachenko. That means that Devin the Dream Haney, in all likelihood, will move up to 140. A possible opponent could be Victor Postal. Shakur Stevenson will stay at 130. Maybe he gets a fight with Miguel Burchell, or maybe if he can get the other champion. What's that guy name? He's got a foreign name, man. What is the IBF champion? Maybe he can get him in a unification matchup. More than likely it'll be a Burchell fight, because that's an in-house fight for top-ranked boxing. So they have a ripple effect on the 135, 130 pounds, and 140 pounds division. If he does choose, that being George Kambosos, Devin the Dream Haney, then you can get Vasily Lomachenko versus Shakur. Gervonta, he might be there, maybe get Isaac Cruz rematch, or he'll fight Rolando Rolly Romero. That'll probably be his options. And then we will have to keep on waiting till the top guys mix it up. That being George Kambosos, Vasily Lomachenko, Gervonta Tank Davis. Now, if he fights Devin the Dream Haney, that'll be good. We'll find out find out really who is the top dog in the lightweight division, in my opinion. And that will clear a lot of things up. So we will see what happens, and we'll see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts, and subscribe to JB Sports, the man, the myth, the legend, and I holla.